Typically in this series, the vehicles actually aren't that bad. With the M551 Sheridan, this is definitely not the case. Not only was it ranked one of the worst vehicles in War Thunder, but it has a very unique property. Looking at the thing gives me an instant migraine. Thank you, General Motors. So you might be wondering, if I hate playing it so much, why make a video on it? Well, do you remember the Cope Cages video, and how my friend think he did most of the work? He is obsessed with the Sheridan. So to compensate him for his work, I'm not going to give him abstract concepts like currency or a nice gift. Instead, I'm making a video trash-talking his all-time favorite vehicle. Now you might be saying, hey, that doesn't seem like compensation at all. And to that I say mind your own business. Anyway, let's get this started. The Sheridan is honestly a bit bland. The most striking feature is the massive 152mm gun. It's also the source of most of the Sheridan's problems. During the Cold War, the US Army wasn't sure what the future tank combat would look like. Would it be dominated by guided missiles, or would guns reign supreme? So in order to hedge their bets, they decided to combine the two. Turns out the compromise isn't always best. The result was the M81 gun launcher, one of the worst tank weapons ever made. It had a lot of problems, with many of them relating to the propellant. It used combustible casings. These could rip open, be ruined by the weather, and in some cases, even made Sheridans blow themselves up. If smoldering residue was left in the gun breech, it could set off the bag early, making the tank a VB IED. It took several attempts to finally solve this issue. Thankfully, you don't have to worry about fragging your crew in War Thunder. No, you'll just be asking questions like, where did my round go? Why am I doing less damage than 105 heat? And why does my heart suddenly feel funny? As for that first bit, you're obviously firing a very big round, and ever since the addition of volumetric, the bigger your round is, the higher the chance it'll get caught on something. This is especially bad for heat rounds, since according to Gaijin, an errant leaf will set off the fuse. Here's a rather extreme example. Heat rounds also have a higher chance to ricochet. Then there's the whole damage side of things. You would think that if you beamed a vehicle with a high explosive round the size of a kindergartner, it would probably be very devastating. Not in War Thunder. Since it's a regular heat shell, it doesn't do very much damage at all. Sometimes, it doesn't even overpressure light vehicles. Take this BMP-2 for example. Do you think the round will make the plate as concave as Tyler 1's skull, cracking it and overpressuring the crew? Or do you think it'll barely do anything? If you pick the second option, congratulations. I can be thankful for one thing. At this BR, Russian players have room temp IQs. Compounding the damage issue is the reload rate. It isn't very high. I can't exactly blame the loader though. At least it gets a stabilizer, right? It's definitely nice to have, but most of the vehicles you face are also stabilized. Many of them also have thermal imagers or other gimmicks. Considering the ammo is about as slow as I am mentally, it's worth mentioning that the Sheridan doesn't have a laser rangefinder. As you would expect, this makes long-range shots difficult. Which brings us to the Shillelagh missile. Given that in most circumstances it is straight up worse than the heat round, it's only useful for one thing, hitting targets at range. In my entire time recording for this video, I only used them twice. One of those times I was trying to shoot down a helicopter, but the motor burns out so fast you can't tell where it is. When the Sheridan does work properly, it's fun being able to do stuff like this. Basically, just pray the enemy team has a ton of lights, because if they have heavies, here's what's going to happen. You're going to fire your dollar store heat round at it, it'll probably do nothing significant, and the heavy is going to stare at you for a bit before turning your pronouns into was-were. The Sheridan can be fun, but it isn't very meta. Here's an example. There are two enemies around that corner. Due to the reload, I can't kill both of them, and escaping to the right's too obvious. So I come up with a brilliant plan. I'll reverse out that tunnel and flank them. I made a fatal miscalculation. The Sheridan is simply too caked up. At least I can take one out with me, right? Evidently not. If you really want to play it, just play the Starship. It's the same BR but just outright better. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.